Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Remember guys, stay positive. Today I'm gonna be sharing with you guys 15 of my most complimented fresh fragrances. So these are gonna be more spring and summertime scents. Most of these are really more daytime fragrances as well, or would be considered more daytime scents, because that's just generally how it goes with fresher stuff. So we're gonna be working from number 15 up through to number 1, where number 1 is a fragrance that pulls compliments way more than it should. It's just kind of like absurd. And really the top like 5 or so are like that. I'll have all of them linked in the description down below from 15 to 1 if you want to check them out down there. As well, here are some codes. You know the drill, guys. Use these codes to save a little money, 10 to 20% at a bunch of different websites. Check Gents 20 first at Max Aroma if you shop there for 20% off instead of Gents 10, which is only 10% off. And also, I am not including any of my fragrances because too much bias there. I mean, are you really gonna believe me if I put my fragrance as the number 1 most complimented fragrance? Probably not, right? Because I wouldn't believe you. If you said, hey man, my fragrance that I made is number 1 most complimented, I'd be like, sure it is, bud. And I know you're doing the same to me. But I did have compliments in mind when I was working on these with the perfumers. So we got Blue Ridge. That one is a fresh, sweet blue fragrance. That's really the biggest compliment puller for me personally. Jet Black Enigma, spicy, sexy, sweet evening scent. And then Terra Nova, which is more classy, versatile, like jack of all trades kind of fragrance. All of those you can find linked in the description as well. So that's all down below. All right, let's kick it off. Number 15. This one is from Goldfield and Banks, and it's Bohemian Lime. Now, this fragrance, when it first came out, was called Lime Ventus by some people because it has a lot of lime in there, finger lime in particular. I don't think it's really super close to Creed Aventus myself, but I wanted to throw that out there because some people do. I love the lime in here. It's very different from your more typical citrus note, so it gives you this nice tartness mixing with that sweetness off the top. As I said, extremely fresh, this one. And as this one dries down, mainly just fresh, clean wood. So you've got a nice citrus opening, clean woody dry down. You know, it does the basics, but it does them really well. So Bohemian Lime, Goldfield and Banks kicking this one off. The next one is from Dolce & Gabbana at number 14. It is Light Blue Summer Vibes. Now this list is gonna be a little bit heavier leaning toward what I wore this year because I did a lot of travel this year. I kind of went around a bunch of different places, mingled with people, met people. And so a lot of the fragrances that I was wearing this year obviously are gonna be fresher in my mind. So do keep that in consideration, but this one, the new Light Blue Summer Vibes, does the job really well as far as pulling that positive attention. Now it's gonna be a little bit similar to Light Blue Oh Intense, which came out years back, and a lot of people really loved that one. This one is maybe not as unique as Light Blue Forever was when that came out, and then Light Blue Italian Love, which smelled, you know, similar to Light Blue Forever, because this does have that kind of light blue backbone coming out a little bit more strongly than those fragrances did. But even though it doesn't have as much of a unique flair off the top as those, this one is, I would say, probably less divisive than Forever or even Italian Love. This one is, at its heart, just extremely clean, almost a little soapy, fresh, aquatic, and salty. Summer Vibes is a fragrance that just people love. I mean, go back to the original Light Blue Pour Homme. A lot of folks out there, myself included, might say, hey man, that's been around the block enough times, you know, you don't need to wear that anymore. But it still works. People still really dig that one. So it's not a surprise that this one would work as well. All right, number 13, Davidoff Cool Water Parfum. Yeah, good old cool water, but not exactly cool water because this doesn't smell like cool water. It's actually closer to Sauvage. That was pretty cool. Just flip that right out of my hand. So this is basically Davidoff's take on the Dior Sauvage DNA, the Sauvage style of scent. And just like Dior Sauvage, it works really well. Don't pay too much for it. This is a fragrance that I would suggest you to pick up at a discounter, and the steeper the discount, the better. You know, you don't want to pay 60, 70, 80 for that. No offense to Davidoff, no offense to Cool Water. It's just, it puts a smile on your face when you pick it up for like 35, you know. Good performance and not as metallic as the original Sauvage, while still having that very attention-grabbing scent profile. So Cool Water Parfum, number 13. Number 12 is from by Kilian, and it is Cologne with the K. Cologne Shield of Protection, which is an interesting name, Cologne Shield of Protection. The presentation though, that looks good, as with all by Kilians. And this one is going to appeal to you more if you like green fragrances, like really green, very, very fresh and brisk. I love the opening of this fragrance. I mean, I do enjoy green scents and just about all their facets nowadays, but this one I think just has a wonderful opening. It has just a little hint of sweetness in there, not too much. So you have mandarin in here, you've got rosemary, a little bit of woodiness. The only drawback with this one is that it's by Kilian, so it's a little bit on the pricier side compared to some of these others, and also the performance is not great. But in high heat situations, even situations where you would want something that's a little classier, a little more elegant, elevated, this works wonders. Number 11, Boss Bottled Pacific from Hugo Boss. So I was gonna say the newest Boss Bottled, but no, there's another Boss Bottled Elixir, which I have on its way as of when I'm shooting this video. There's just so many Boss Bottled fragrances, man. They don't stop. They're like rabbits, just reproducing. Yeah. Just Boss Bottled. Well, I say that, but then I actually really like this one, so maybe keep reproducing, but do it in a good way. I don't know. Really nice summer scent. I like that a lot. It's got this appealing coconut note to it. That's really the main thing that this one does for me. You also got some cypress in there, a little sea salt, some citrus. Truth be told, I thought this was gonna be bad. Like really just bland and frankly a throwaway fragrance. Then when I got it in, I was pleasantly surprised. So I got a good amount of use out of this little guy right here, and people seem to enjoy it a bunch. It's a great change of pace for your more typical shower gel type of fresh scent, because that coconut, you know, it doesn't make the fragrance heavy, but it has a little more heft to it compared to your typical citrus ginger kind of opening. So Boss Bottled Pacific, really dig this. There's the first 5. Number 10, Ralph Lauren, had it backwards, Polo Blue Parfum. You can almost underestimate this one, I feel like. A lot of people may get Polo Blue Parfum and think, you know, it's fine, but I've smelled stuff like that before and yada, yada, yada. Yet in the air, this stuff just, it works. I don't know if it's just for me. Obviously it's not. A lot of other people are wearing it, but it works extremely well. So it's got a little underlying soapiness to it, this clean vibe to it. It harkens back to the earlier Polo Blue fragrances, but I think this is actually one of the best in the entire lineup. And then you get this almost lightly incensed woodiness underneath all those fresher notes. Really good aromatics with this one, and another fragrance that you can easily wear in more formal situations as well as more casual situations. So this stuff is just really good. Number 9, a cheapie here, Ferragamo Acqua Essenziale Blu. This one has been a cheapie for a minute. I mean, really not long after this was released. It was at TJ Maxx and Ross's and Marshall's in the US for next to nothing, which is where I got all my bottles. So it's an interesting fragrance line because it came out and then rapidly was just basically liquidated. And they had Alberto Marias behind this. So it's like, what happened here? Just a complete, utter, abject failure, but they actually smell good? I don't know. So this has that blue fragrance DNA, and it is obviously a fresh fragrance since it's in this video, but it's not as fresh as a lot of the other ones. It's got a little more tonka to it. So you've got a little more of that kind of vanilla, hey, almond sweetness underneath there. You've also got lavender in there. You've got citrus, ambroxan. It's actually drawn some comparisons to Dylan Blue. It's not super close to that, but kind of in that style, which is to say a blue fragrance, which you already knew. But this is a really great compliment puller for the price point. It costs next to nothing, under $30. So it's one of those ones that you can spend very little on and get a lot for your money. After that, we got Aventus Cologne from Creed. Good old Creed. This stuff works though, works really well. It is what you would expect. It is a fresher take on the Aventus DNA, the Aventus style. So you're not gonna get so much of that smokiness here, that birch. You do have woodiness, and you can pick that up immediately. It's just cleaner and has more of like a zestiness to it. And then off the top, you've got fresh spice and citrus instead of that smoother, sweeter pineapple note that you're gonna find in the original Aventus. But during the summer, this stuff works extremely well. Now, you could say a lot of things about the price point here for full retail versus the performance, you know, bang for your buck. But if we're just talking how the scent works, how much people enjoy it, gets the job done. Now the next fragrance I think smells fantastic. It's not gonna get as much hype as most of all these other ones that we're gonna talk about here today, but it's just as good. It's Lacoste L1212 Blanc Eau Intense, which these naming conventions with the L1212, like, Yeah. Eau Fraiche, Eau Intense, Eau de Parfum, Eau de Toilette, there's a lot of different versions of L1212 Blanc at this point. So this is a 2023 release, but it's pretty much been overshadowed by all of the bigger releases that have come out this year. You know, all the elixirs and also the elixirs. Oh, and the other elixirs. Yeah, just all the elixirs. Should have named that elixir, would have gotten more hype. Love it. Love it. So Lacoste does sporty fragrances, you know, summertime, springtime fragrances really well, especially for the price point you can usually pick them up for. They're typically not too expensive from discounters. And this one nails that. It's got that sporty edge, but it also has a nice classiness to it. It is pretty sweet. It has cardamom, it has leather, lavender, and citrus as well, mandarin orange off the top, and also a really pleasant vetiver as well. So it's got a little more kind of deep sweetness that you can get from spices sometimes, but then it has clean woods underneath, so it keeps it firmly grounded in being a spring, summer, early fall scent. Really, really excellent. A little bit under the radar as well, like I said, compared to some of these others. We're almost in the top 5. We got Chanel up next, Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Now, I would say that this is probably the heaviest one of the bunch, because it's got a lot of Tonka in there, a good amount. You can pick it up right away as soon as you spray this on. But even though this is maybe a little heavier than some of the other ones, it still has that freshness in there like you would expect from an Allure Homme Sport release. You've got mint in there, you got citrus, so it's got this nice little aromatic pop off the top, a green kind of freshness that melds with that sweet citrus. Little pepper in there as well, giving you kind of a little pop to the nose as it dries down. Huge, huge compliment puller. This thing was one of the most hyped fragrances for quite a while, for good reason. Just a compliment monster. All right, top 5, here we go. Number 5, Luna Rossa Carbon. Again, smells like Dior Sauvage. Harkening back to this guy, Cool Water Parfum. Luna Rossa Carbon, it has that same style. It has that ambroxan, it has that freshness. It is smoother than Dior Sauvage. It's not as metallic as Dior Sauvage. It's not as loud as Dior Sauvage as well, so take that into account. It doesn't project as well for me, but it's not a weak fragrance. It's just Sauvage is really strong. So Luna Rossa Carbon, this is really a fragrance you can wear anytime, year round. You can pull it off daytime or evening. And it has always been just a compliment monster for me. Just a really, really consistent attention grabber. Number 4, no surprise, Acqua di Gio Profondo. Love Acqua di Gio and pretty much all its forms and facets. I mean, even the ones that I didn't really like a ton when they came out, like Absolute, I still don't like as much as all the other Acqua di Gios, to be fair, but I came around to it a little bit more, you know? Came to respect it for what it could do in terms of other people enjoying it. And that's part of fragrances for me as well. For some people, that's not important. They don't care if other people like the fragrance at all. I do. I mean, if I'm staying at home, then I don't, obviously, because then I'm just hanging out with myself and my family. But if I'm out and about, yeah, I mean, I want other people to think that I'm wearing something nice that complements what I'm wearing. I say as I wear this t-shirt, but I don't always wear t-shirts like this, okay? But anyway, I like that. I like the complimenting factor, okay? Some people don't, but I respect fragrances that I don't enjoy if the majority of people, the vast majority, do like them. In this circumstance, it doesn't matter because I love Profondo. And other people love Profondo, so it makes me a happy boy. Essentially, a modern, more masculine take on the original Acqua di Gio with more green facets, kind of taking the place of a lot of the florals from the original. Number 3, YSL Y Live. Now, why Eau de Parfum? Why Le Parfum? Why Eau de Parfum? All the Ys, okay? All the Ys will get you compliments if that's what you're after. But Y Live oftentimes is just a step ahead of the others a little bit. And it pains me to say that sometimes. I mean, maybe Y Eau de Parfum is right there with it, to be fair, but Y Live just has this, I don't know, this kind of something. Special something that like reaches out and grabs attention. It's a little bit Invictus-y, and I'm not the biggest Invictus fan, talking about the OG Invictus. This has a little bit of that, kind of mixed with Y Eau de Parfum to an extent, but man alive, if you are looking for something that will get you noticed, that will do it. Number 2, Eros Flame. What? Yeah, Eros Flame. That's one that I really was very neutral on when it came out. Didn't hate it, but wasn't in love with it. Just didn't really see the point. Honestly, I didn't feel like it was different enough, even though it is at this point different enough for me. But at the time, I didn't think it was from the original Eros. But as time has gone on, my opinion has changed. And other people have helped that opinion change by just letting me know what they think about it. All good things, all good things. Love the change with the Kenoto in here. The Kenoto in here, the citrus in here, just really livens the scent up. drop, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. It's not as reliant on like sweet on top of sweet like the original Eros is. Number 1, Missoni Wave. And you guys have let me know as well that it works for you just like it works for me. This is one of those circumstances where, you know, you're looking for a summertime fragrance nowadays. I guess you don't need to always try to rework the wheel, so to speak. When you smell it, there's nothing hyper complex about it. You know, it smells similar to the original Allure Homme Sport. It smells similar to Versace Pour Homme. It's extremely fresh. It's got a nice briskness to it, a little bit out of the shower style, kind of hanging by the beach as well. It's sweet, but not overly sweet, so it doesn't override that freshness. The dry down is classy, it's masculine, it gets the job done, has good performance, people love it, man. Just Missoni Wave is one of those fragrances that it is what it is. Like, you smell it and you think to yourself, well, I mean, is it that special? Like, I really like it, but does it have that it factor? And then obviously it does, because people just, they love it. So there we go. These right here have all served me extremely well during the summertime, during early fall, those fresher fragrances that just get the job done time and time and time again. I really think that nothing here is divisive at all. I mean, like 99% of people are gonna like all these. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there and let me know your go-to, you know, your summer, early fall go-to when you want that confidence boost. Take it easy, guys. See you tomorrow.